Hey everybody, on this episode we're going to talk about spending $1,000 a month on SEO, what to do with all those community sponsorship requests, and some good marketing books. Hey everybody, and welcome to the 88 Dental Marketing Show. I am your host, Joshua Scott, and this is episode number 3 on a cold morning here in the Midwest. It's just been like winter storm after winter storm for the last few days, and again, forecasting below 0 temperatures tomorrow morning. And so, it's this point in the year, halfway through February, where I just keep telling myself to hold on. Like 6 more weeks till April, man. 6 more weeks till sun. And so we're just trying to get through it. Before we get into the show, I wanted to say thanks to everybody leaving comments and asking questions. I appreciate it. Leave me your marketing questions, all right? So think of your questions, leave them in the comments. There's a few ways to do it. Go into the comment section below if you're on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn, and just leave them right there. You can also hashtag the 88 show, the 8E8 show, and we'll pull those off of whatever social medium you're using and get those on a future episode for sure. Let's get to some questions.
Hey Josh, Jessica B has a question. She says she's spending $1,000 a month on SEO. Is that high?
So is $1,000 a month too much to spend on SEO? It's a good question. I'm actually really glad it came up because I'm running into this, and the answer here could tend to get long, so I'm going to do my best to keep it short, okay? The quick answer is it's all relative, right? If you're spending $1,000 a month and you're on page 2 or page 3 buried, then yes, it's entirely way too much because it's not working. If you're spending $1,000 a month and you're in a big city and you're one of the top listings on Google, then I'd say you're probably getting a bargain, honestly. And so it's all relative. In the dental industry, that's fair market value. You're going to spend somewhere between $500 to $1,000 a month in SEO. That's just standard. All the major players are right in that space or that range. But what you got to do is analyze it up against new patients, right? So $1,000 a month, how many new patients came in that month? And so because they're directly related, the better your SEO and the higher you rank, the more new patients should be coming in. And so that's what you want to look at. Did you have 12, 14, 20 new patients come in because they said they found you on Google or found your website? Then I have zero problem with that type of budget. If you're spending $1,000 and every now and then you have a new patient show up, maybe every 2 months, you have somebody shows up that says, hey, they found you on Google because you're at the bottom of the first page or buried, then that's when it's a problem. And that's when we need to reevaluate the whole strategy overall. And so then what I would tell you is a few things. Get your SEO company on the phone, which typically is your website company, and just communicate that. Communicate your expectations of, hey, I don't have a problem with the budget so much, but for that budget, we got to be at the top. And so communicate that to them. Now, if they push back and give you this whole kind of runaround about, well, Google's tough and it's tricky and nobody really knows for sure the algorithm, and so we can't guarantee results. If they pull that type of stuff on you, you've got the wrong company. You just do. And it's probably time for a change. You have to have a website company that values SEO, that understands it, that's in the game. Otherwise, you're just designing a website. You need a website that markets for you. And so have that conversation with them, communicate those expectations. And then secondly, give them some time. Ask them what their strategic plan is. What is it? How are they trying to improve your ranking? And if the plan seems good, it seems legit, then give them some time to execute that. What we do know about SEO is those changes don't happen overnight. Sometimes it's 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, a year, depending on the market and how complicated that search gets. And so they may need some time. But if they have a good plan in place and you're seeing some progress, then I would stay with them. So the quick answer is it's relative, but put it up against the real new patients coming into the practice and then make some decisions based off that.
Dr. Gavin R. writes to us and says, hey, I get 10 to 12 requests every month for sponsorships or community support projects. I feel like we're constantly giving out money. What's the best way to deal with that?
Dr. Gavin, great question, man. And especially, I don't know, I feel like this time of year, I'm just dealing with this more. We're seeing more of these types of requests. Probably just has something to do with the start of the year. And yeah, man, 10 to 12 a month, that gets a little crazy. Because I mean, even if you're given just $100, you know, to each of those kind of here and there, that's $1,000 a month. That's $12,000 a year. And that's a substantial part of your marketing budget. And so what I would say is the advice I give is two things. Number one, define the budget, right? Because I think on the whole, from what I've seen, dentists by nature are generous people. Like, they want to give. I mean, they do give back. And most of them are involved in their communities. They're giving back. They love that. The problem is when there's so many requests that it takes away that joy from it, that pleasure of giving. And so what I always tell doctors is, number one, define a budget. And that's just kind of like 101 of marketing is how much do we want to give back? Is it $1,000? Is it $5,000? Is it $10,000 or more? Like in a calendar year, how much money do you want to give back? So define that, because that will determine what we say yes and no to and how much we give. And then secondly, the most effective thing I found is just set parameters on it. Like, who do you want to give to? So how much do you want to give? And then who do you want to give to? I mean, some practices we work with, they want to invest in kids and local programs. So they do a lot with schools and athletics. And, you know, if it's a local program that has to do with kids, they almost always say yes. When those requests come in, I mean, he's empowered the staff of, yep, we can do this. And they say yes to it. Some practices that we work with, they're real involved in the arts. And so, you know, you've got stuff like the Philharmonic and Ballet Met, and, you know, those tend to be bigger ticket items or bigger gifts, but you also tend to have more exposure with them. And then some practices, I mean, they have a heart for international organizations. And so even, you know, high school kids going on trips to South America or church organizations or humanitarian missions, like that's what they love. And so I don't have a problem with any of those, and it's not like one's gooder than the other. It's just, what do you want to do? Because my whole thinking, the approach is, you could spread out all the money, little gifts over a wide area, but the impact is little. Or you can define who you want to give bigger gifts, and make more of an impact. And I think that strategy makes more sense. I think in the end, you feel great about it. You've defined it and put boundaries on it, but yet it allows you to be generous at the same time.
Janine P. wants to know if you have any good marketing book recommendations.
Janine, great question. And as you can see behind me, lots of books. So yeah, this morning I just went through the shelves and pulled some books that I thought would be a great place to start. First one, this is kind of the oldie but a goodie, the classic in the advertising world. This is the 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing. And what I like about this book is it's a great place to start. It's not too big, it's a quick read, but this is really gonna help you lay the foundation of a great marketing strategy. So lots of great principles in here. Some of this you're gonna read and you're like, oh my gosh, this is applicable today. And so I think there was some of it where these authors were really before their time in some of the what they were presenting. And so great book. I think it's probably the best place to start. Simple, quick, and lays a foundation. One of the best marketing authors, communicators out there is Seth Godin. And this is one of my favorites of his. It's called Purple Cow, Transform Your Business by Being Remarkable. And it's a book about customer service, but you know, when you're in the service industry, everything is marketing. And so this is a great book about being remarkable. And I think dental practices need to be remarkable. And this is one of my favorites of his, All Marketers Are Liars, which I think is a great title. But the whole premise of the book is, you know, marketing is really about telling stories. So bad marketers tell bad stories or stories we don't believe. Good marketers tell stories we do believe. And so anything of his would be great. Maybe another author that's not so well known, this is one of my favorites, is Hugh MacLeod. This is his first book, Ignore Everybody. And I think he's been in the advertising world, but he writes more from a creativity standpoint. And I think it's just a good read. It's inspiring. It kind of helps you get a handle on some of what you're trying to communicate and approach it from a creative perspective. Again, he's got a blog and a few other books. I think you could pick up any of those and be happy with them. And finally, no conversation about marketing books is complete without mentioning Gary Vaynerchuk. And this is his probably most well-known book. He's had a few before this, but The Thank You Economy. And Gary actually spoke for us a few years back, and I think he's a brilliant mind. This is a great book. I think, I want to say it came out in 2008, 2009, but really, again, ahead of its time and talking about digital marketing in general. And so this is a great handbook for that. It really helps develop the voice of it. And then his newest one, which is kind of a continuation of the Thank You Economy. This is Jab, Jab, Right Hook, and is kind of a primer for social media. And he walks through the different social media platforms, how you should be using them. But generally, it's overall like how you should be using marketing anyway. Like what mediums are you using? And you know, because the same marketing strategy across every medium loses credibility. Whatever medium you're using, it needs to be specific for that. And so he helps really get a handle on that. So there's some books for you. That should keep you busy for a while anyway.
Craig R., he wants to know, Beck or Beyonce?
Craig, I'm assuming you're referring to the Grammys last week and the Album of the Year award. Yeah, you know, I was just as surprised by that. Man, I gotta go with Beyonce for sure. I'm kind of with Kanye on this one. I think Beck probably should give the award to Beyonce out of courtesy. Nothing against Beck. I'm sure he's a great guy. I have some of his music, but clearly there was an Album of the Year last year and it did not win the award. So that's what I think. Guys, episode 3, thanks so much for being a part of it. Look, remember to leave me some questions. Leave me your marketing questions, man. Go down in the comment section where you're watching. Leave me those questions or hashtag the 88 show. Also, if you would like to get these episodes right when they come out, subscribe on YouTube. You'll see the subscribe button right there. It helps me push out some content, so please do that. Question of the day. What book are you reading right now? Guys, I'll see you next episode.